As most of our viewers know, Stonewall, the dominant LGBT rights charity, have gone through a rather rough patch in the last year. In August, Ofcom, the government-approved regulatory authority for broadcasting and telecommunications, announced its withdrawal from Stonewall's diversity and inclusion scheme. And after weeks of speculation, the BBC last month also announced that they were withdrawing over, I believe, impartiality concerns. However, last weekend, one industry opted to stand in ever closer solidarity with the charity and its intersectional virtues, the woke kleptocracy that we know as football. So if you get the first page up. So, under what's called the Rainbow Laces campaign.
What?
Yep.
That sounds like a parody. Yeah, okay.
The Rainbow Laces campaign, athletes, coaches, officials and fans wore laces while also contributing to conversations that help to ensure people who are lesbian, gay, bi and trans feel welcome and comfortable in their sports spaces and environments.
I bet they did.
It's the second year that the campaign has been active.
Thing is, if you were gay, like, it'd feel like everyone's looking at you suddenly. Like, you're just there getting on with your day, and now everyone's just looking at you and paying attention. It's like, what?
But if you make it obvious that you're gay, then maybe that would be the case. But
maybe, but like everyone's like, yeah, but you're gay, aren't you? It's like, yeah, but so? It's like, yeah, but we're all paying attention to gays. Yeah. And so everyone's just like, yeah, okay, gay.
It's like no one's watching the game. They're secretly saying to the person next to them, are you gay?
Yeah, exactly. And everyone's staring at the gay now, and it's like, okay, why? Can I not just get on with my day, you know?
No, exactly. But anyway, so if we scroll down a little bit,
it's like a way that bigots would out them.
I know it gets worse. Take it from me. But research carried out last year by ICM for Stonewall, the equality charity that coordinates Rainbow Laces, showed that 1 in 5 sports fans still think anti-LGBTQ plus no one cares language is harmless if it is just meant as banter.
Oh, only 1 in 5.
Yes, I mean, I imagine this is probably language such as "Come on, you big puff," "Head it, you big girl's blouse," or "Shut up, cervix head."
Only 1 in 5 people think that.
Only 1 in 5 people.
The propaganda has been very effective, then, hasn't it?
Clearly, it has. But Stonewall's director of programs, Liz Ward, is encouraged by the progress around inclusion in sports in 2021, but said there are still lingering concerns too.
Of course there are.
Yeah. A recent study found that across Europe, 8 in 10, that's 82% of LGBTQ people active in sports, have witnessed homophobia, biphobia and transphobia in the preceding 12 months.
Oh no.
Yeah.
How many survived?
Probably none of them by the standards they set themselves. Because misgendering is literally killing. But anyway, Liz Ward says, few things bring us together as much as sport, fitness and physical activity. It's inspiring to see so many people, clubs, leagues, gyms and partners come together for Rainbow Laces season. Since the beginning of the campaign, we've seen awareness grow and grow, with more than 1 million laces modelled in boots across the world's pitches. So shall we have a look at the solidarity that the clubs have been posturing?
I can't wait.
Okay, so let's begin with Arsenal Football Club.
Love is love.
Who are standing in solidarity with nonces.
Right, they have the pedo slogan.
Yep.
Okay. Very bold, progressive, stunning and brave.
Indeed. If we move on to the next one, this is Ilkay Gundogan wearing a nonce-themed captain's armband.
Well, I mean, it doesn't say love is love on it, so I'm not going to call that the nonce-themed one. He's got the conservative pride flag there.
Actually, it is the conservative pride flag, isn't it?
So he's a secret conservative. You can't trust him.
If we move on to the next one, this is Jordan Henderson saying football is for everyone. So that includes
people who hate football.
People who hate football.
I hate football.
Yeah, people who hate football.
I don't want to have football forced upon me. Like, this is enough of an imposition, this segment, to be honest. But okay, now I'm being forced to watch football and be gay.
Yeah,
Great.
The one that depresses me the most, however, is this one, the next one, which is because it's my team, celebrating 5 years of Chelsea Pride.
Chelsea Pride.
Chelsea Pride. I never knew it was a thing. I've got no reason to know that it's a thing, but
that's very interesting. Yeah. How very, very diverse.
I would be genuinely proud of our women if we had beat Barcelona in the Champions League final. Which
Did they not?
They didn't, sadly. We got absolutely annihilated.
Did Barcelona have the trans pride flag or something? Were they more progressive than this one?
No, they just annihilated us 5-0. At present, they're probably better than the actual Barcelona team, the men's team.
No, they didn't have any pride flags. They just kicked our asses.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
And as you'd expect, nearly every team has changed its profile picture to accommodate for the flag of intersectionalism.
The racial trans pride flag.
Yes, exactly.
That's right. We're going to single out the gays and the blacks.
Yes. So English football's cosing up to Stonewall regrettably is just another case where clubs, pundits, players, union representatives, and regrettably many fans as well are allying themselves with intersectionalism without learning about what intersectionality ultimately is.
I hate football, so I'm all for this. Let them destroy. No, you like football. I won't do that. No,
come on, North FC at the very least.
Sure, but I've never been a football fan. I like playing football, but I've never enjoyed watching it, and I've never enjoyed the tribalism around it either. It's just not for me. And so I'm not sad to see it go. Let the SJWs destroy it.
That is deeply regrettable.
I know.
We're going to have to debate this at some point.
We are. We will have a debate about this.
Anyway, we continue to have this problem, of course, with Black Lives Matter, which persists because the players are stupid enough to take the knee. One of these useful idiots.
To be fair, they're not being employed for their brains, are they?
No, they're not. But regrettably, given that they are, people of considerable influence, they are being extremely effective at perpetuating this awful ideology.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Rio Ferdinand is one of these useful idiots, and Rio Ferdinand continues to argue brazenly that the booing fans are racist, that taking the knee isn't political, that taking the knee has nothing to do with Black Lives Matter, and he even had the audacity to say that the fans who make the effort of pointing out the political underpinnings of the gesture are ignorant themselves.
Why would he be doing it if it's not political?
Exactly.
What's it for? Is there something wrong with your leg? If it's not political, there's no point to it.
Do we have the video ready? Yes.
Go on, let's
hear it from the horse's mouth.
What is going on out there?
These fans, these ignorant people that are going to these games, ain't got a clue. They don't know what the players are kneeling for. They're kneeling for injustice. They're kneeling to make sure that certain situations are going to be remembered and highlighted and dealt with in a proper way.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a political stance. And all these ignorant people that are going, it's a political, the BLM, it's a political movement. It's nothing to do with that. So take that out of your mind.
Yeah, so
you're booing people.
Yeah.
Pardon? I
don't know who this guy is. Anyway, because, it's the old ones, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's
so
basically
that's a thesis from Dr. Rio Ferdinand.
Yes. So basically, equality, social injustice, all of these things are ultimately apolitical in the eyes of Rio Ferdinand. But
the whole thing is a political movement.
Yeah.
What an idiot.
Yeah. It literally originates from a political statement made by Colin Kaepernick, Rio, if you're watching. Please Google it. It is not very hard. I'm sure you've got enough time in your day to do it. But in any case, people like him are those who support the Rainbow Laces campaign. They have no desire to understand what intersectionality is or what Black Lives Matter is, what they've done, the communities they've destroyed, the people's lives they're destroying, and worst of all, the racial essentialism that the ideology propagates, which when you break it down is ultimately in the same ballpark as Nazism.
Absolutely.
And there is no other way of putting it.
And it's not like the founders of Black Lives Matter have been in any way shy about sharing any of this.
Yeah.
It's essentially, it's built primarily and exclusively around race.
Yes.
And also the founders of Black Lives Matter literally came out and said, well, we're trained Marxists.
Yeah.
What would a trained Marxist want other than a Marxist revolution?
I would argue that their understanding of Marxism outweighs the arrogance that they displayed in claiming themselves to be Marxists. But nonetheless, that they are explicitly trying to subvert the parents' moral value system.
Yes.
Like, they are unashamedly against it. So Rio, look that up if you're watching. But other than that, I'm just going to shill my own article here, which basically covers all of this extensively. Sports broadcasting's ascension into a woke kleptocracy. It basically tries to describe the ways in which the entire industry has fallen into accepting this narrative without even reflecting on it a single time. But just to summarise this point on Stonewall, if I draw it back a little bit, there's an extraordinary irony at the heart of Stonewall's continued involvement in sport, and that is we don't need Stonewall for sport to be diverse. It already is, and there's an obvious reason why LGBTQ plus people, whatever, are not participating in sport, because it's an intrinsically masculine enterprise propped up mainly by North FC, and it's probably always going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not going to attract, those sorts of people to come to watch football. There are those who do, and, I commend you for it. It's a great sport. I know you would say the contrary.
Yeah, but it's not because you're gay, it's because you like football.
But look, the Premier League, off of its own merits, when it was founded in 1993, very quickly became the best league in the world. It attracted players from diverse backgrounds, not because of all their racial background, but because they were the best.
Yeah.
no fans cared, or at least the true fans didn't care about the race of the people who were playing for them.
Mm-hmm.
There was of course explicit racism in the 70s and 80s, which we know about now, and I think nearly everyone condemns it except for the explicit white nationalists.
But who cares about their
Yeah,
opinions?
but we basically had diversity in the professional game without Stonewall ever being involved, or at least they weren't involved in the transfer window to facilitate this.
Like when I was growing up in like the 80s and 90s, it was footballers like John Barnes and people like that. Like, and I don't like football, but I can instantly name like a black footballer who's famous for being a footballer and not for being black. Why is this necessary at all? I mean, I remember watching a clip from some Italian football team manager being like, well, I'd call it the England team, but there aren't any English people on it, are there? You know, it's like, well, I don't care, you know, but fair point. You know, it's like to say that this is somehow like, oh, well, we need to get non-English people or non-white people into the game. Okay. Don't they have football clubs all around the world that compete and trade players?
Yeah, well, more to the point, if you're going to fast track people, we'll prioritize that very reason, just to get them involved in sport. Then you're undermining the concept of sport altogether.
Well,
it ceases to be a peddled by competition, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, the very notion for everyone. Like, no, it's for the best. That's the point of competition.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose implicit in Stonewall's political aim is to deliver diversity at any cost. Really,
yes.
I imagine they know exactly what they're doing, and the entire sporting industry is just going along with it because they don't understand it.
Oh no.
And or perhaps that they're just too old to actually experience the consequences of it when it finally hits. But I'll end on this because it's quite amusing. But did you know that Stonewall actually have their own football team?
What, Stonewall FC?
Stonewall FC, here it is.
And did that also get thrashed by Barcelona's women's team?
I imagine they probably would. But they already have a men's team, a women's team. Actually, several.
How do they define the difference?
I honestly have not. I honestly
really want to know.
I mean, funny enough, it's actually quite hard. I mean, could we actually get up the results of one of the teams just out of interest? Because I struggled to find any record of them actually playing a match.
I'm not sure whether I'm looking at the women or the men's team.
But no, they've already got men's, women's, and non-binary teams. But the point is, if they get genuinely good right, then this is eventually going to become a problem, isn't it? Because
I mean, I would like it if they were just worried about getting genuinely good rather than talking about vaginas and penises.
But I suppose what I'm thinking, you know how much the women's game is being kind of peddled at the moment, almost artificially.
I don't, but carry on.
Yeah, well, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, Stonewall are going to ruin literally all of this.
That's true.
Because they're going to say, well, why can't, I don't know, you or I to start playing
How do you know
football?
they're women?
Well, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to erase that, dissolve that boundary between men and women.
They are eliminating the FA's own standard on what's required to participate in certain leagues.
It's very progressive to basically wipe out women's sports.
Yes.
Thanks, Stonewall.
Yes. So Stonewall have already planted the seeds for the future. At the moment, they're not very good. They're not going to win the FA Cup anytime soon.
So if anyone finds any good memes about this, go tag me on Getter with them because I'd love to see Stonewall FC memes.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed that segment from the podcast The Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site.
We've got loads on there and it's all really, really good. For example, we have regular premium articles that discuss contemporary events, and we have an audio track for our silver and gold tier members. And of course, we have our regular series on there. We've got Contemplations, which is Josh and whoever he wants to have talk to him about a particular topic. On this one, he's talking about Bo, about in-group preference. Moving on. Bo and myself also do the Epoch series, which says talking about history. This one's Belisarius Part 3, because Belisarius was a 6th century Byzantine general, and he had an amazing career and a genuinely tragic end. And the myth of him is old blind Belisarius begging on the streets of Rome would have been better than what happened to him, but I won't spoil it. I'll let you figure out. I'll let you find out. And of course, we do our regular book club as well this week's or this month's. I don't know how often we do them actually. Fairly regularly. It takes a while to read a book, but this is Callum doing John Stuart Mill's On Liberty, in which I rail against utilitarianism. I used to be a huge fan of John Stuart Mill, like 5-10 years ago. And since then, I've really soured on utilitarianism. And so the framing of his arguments, I find kind of insufferable. He's not wrong in what he's arguing for, but it's the way he's doing it. But anyway, we also do a bunch of premium podcasts, things that are entertaining, we think, like the politics of Star Trek that I did with John, talking about, well, is Star Trek a socialist paradise or not? It turns out it's not, but it's, it's something different. Post-scarcity liberalism, basically. But that's a really good podcast. And we also have to put up things on the website that we can't actually put on YouTube because YouTube has editorial policies about things such as where all these heart attacks are coming from. Giant elephant in the room. It's probably climate change. Don't worry about it. We also have fascinating interviews from really interesting people, such as this one, which is an activist called Luke Avery, who's a Christian, but don't worry, he's not Bible thumping in this. What he's doing is talking about the ancient wisdom in the biblical book of Proverbs, and it's very much daddish sort of stuff, and I really enjoyed doing this one. And I think I'll have him back in, hopefully, to do another one, Ecclesiastes or something, and hopefully we'll do another one soon.
And if you want to keep up with us, you can follow us on getter.com. I love the phrase and getter doing, something like that. I don't know.
You're doing really well on there, though, aren't you? You've got
right.
like 11,000 followers.
So come follow me on Getter, come follow you on Getter.
Yeah.
And
lotuseast.com on Getter.
lotuses_com on there. Let's go check that out. And also the conference itself. So this is a conference being put on by the Getter guys. This is on the December the 8th. So update on this, the Getter conference has been postponed until further notice. We will let people know as soon as we have more information. Apparently it was postponed thanks to the global freakout in response to the Omicron variant. So sorry about that. So if you'd like to get access to all that premium content, you can subscribe at lotuseaters.com. Thank you and goodbye.